They're among the greatest drivers on the planet. World Rally's elite. Charged with performing at the highest level. On all sorts of surfaces. All types of terrain. In all kinds of weather. The going gets tough, it comes with the territory. They enjoy it, most of the time. But in a global adventure of highs and lows, what really makes them tick? Where do they get the biggest thrills, the most enjoyment? We're about to find out as we invite the cream of the WRC to tell us what really gets the adrenaline flowing every time they strap in and engage stage mode, as they reveal their favourite rally.
You can hear the cheering inside the car, and then you are like thinking, what's happening now? What's this noise?
Always a lot of stars in my eyes when I think about this event.
The stage they love more than any other.
It goes to Rally Finland, but it's not what you think it is.
The adrenaline you get from there, the precision, the high speed, the big road.
Fast and high-speed jumps and then technical parts, so it's really a demanding stage.
And a car they'd really love to get their hands on, past or present.
This car, it was amazing.
At that time, I was still a spectator in WRC.
The noise and everything was just incredible.
Hold tight, we're in for a fascinating ride alongside the best in the business. First into the hot seats, Belgium's finest, Hyundai team leader Thierry Neuville. And we start with his favourite rally, one that evokes extra special memories.
My favorite rally probably is Rally Germany, due to the fact that it's very close to the Belgian border, all the family, friends, and a lot of supporters are there. But also it's a place where I got my first WRC win back in 2014. There was a big story to talk about, definitely. I mean, we rolled the car in shakedown. The people did an incredible job and lots of effort into the rebuild of the car during the night. I remember still going at 5 in the morning ahead of the start of the rally to test the car and see if everything was working well. We kept an oil leak, I mean, during all the weekend, but we were able to do the rally and finally to go and secure the first win for myself, but also for Hyundai Motorsport. It's great memories, and yeah, I have had great results over there, and I love to drive on tarmac as well.
Rally Germany, an understandable favourite for Thierry Neuville. Next, the Belgians' favourite stage, and it's time to head for the fast, furious forests of Finland.
Onimpoja definitely is a highlight. If I remember back some memories like 2013, we had an incredible run over the stage. I mean, I did every single corner perfect, and it was pretty much on the limit. And with Nicola, we just had so much joy at the end. I think it was only Sebastian who beat us at the end, but I mean, that was kind of no surprise because the Polo was that much stronger at that time. I can't remember having had so much sensation in such a short time as we had at that moment.
Which leaves us with Neuville's favourite car from any era, not just those he's driven. Which steering wheel would the Belgian most love to get his hands on, and why?
There are a lot of rally cars which are really nice. I mean, over the years as well, my opinion has changed. I have had the chance to drive a lot of cars, but for sure now, if I could drive the 306 Maxi or something like this, would be definitely a pleasure. It's still proper engines with a lot of noise and a lot of RPM.
The Peugeot Maxi 306 kit car, looking and sounding sensational in the hands of Gilles Panizzi and Francois Delacour in the late 1990s. But there's another favourite Thierry Neuville would love to add to his collection.
There's one car, I don't know why, which I always have liked, but probably as well because at that time I was still a spectator in WRC and especially in Rally Germany, is the Ford Focus WRC car, which I really love to see. Car was very low, was bottoming all the time. The onboard sound was really, really nice, and I always would have loved to test it, but I didn't take the opportunity yet.
A blast of nostalgia from Thierry Neuville, and he won't be the only one looking back misty-eyed. Plenty more glorious sights and sounds to come. Next, we turn the spotlight on the first of 3 Finnish drivers in the WRC top flight, the man who burst onto the scene with Toyota in 2017 and promptly took his first World Rally win at his home event. Yes, it's Esa-Pekka Lappi, and no surprise when it comes to his favourite place to race.
The most clear answer would be Finland, for sure.
Lappi looks as controlled and calm as he has all weekend. It's a moment a 26-year-old Finn will never forget, and what a marker to make in the sport. A first victory for Lappi in just his 4th rally at the sport's top level.
To be honest, every time we do Finland, it's nice. So I don't need to say it's the year, you know, when we won the rally. But every time when you can do it, it's really cool, and I enjoy it a lot.
Home sweet home for Lappi, Finland his favourite rally. Same story when it comes to his favourite stage, straight back into those familiar forests. On Empoja, I hear you say? Well, no, actually.
It goes to Rally Finland, but it's not what you think it is. It's actually Myhimpää. It's kind of on Empoja, but still not like that. But with all the crests, and especially when you discover the stage first time, that's something cool if it goes well. And then you get the best feelings and emotions out of it, and that's what happened to me in 2015. It's really a cool stage because of that. With all the crests, you fly sideways. You have many crests after each other, and you need to be on the correct line all the time.
Like pretty much all Finns, Lappi spent much of his youth watching his heroes blast a trail through the forests. And when it comes to his all-time favourite rally car, one particular high-speed blur of blue left a lasting impression.
I think it's 99 Impreza. I liked that a lot, and I remember when I was watching in Rally Finland when I think Kankkunen was driving. That's probably the first memory for me as well. Maybe that's why I like the car. When I was young, I really liked blue, so maybe that's why.
Home comforts and success shaping the thoughts so far, a theme that continues as we turn next to Welshman Elfyn Evans, born with racing in his veins, son of a rally driver, growing up honing his talents in his back garden, almost literally.
My favourite rally on the calendar is Wales Rally GB, simply because it's the home rally. It virtually passes the front door as part of the route, and yeah, there's nothing quite like the home atmosphere at Wales Rally GB.
Especially when you take your first WRC victory at your home event.
Yes, well done, Elfyn.
Yeah, winning in 2017 was obviously a very special feeling. Winning, you know, right so close to home with all the family and friends there. It was a great experience and one I'll never forget.
Once again, when it comes to picking a standout stage, Evans doesn't have to look far. Just outside the back door, in fact.
My favourite stage is Dovey at Wales Rally GB. It's a stage probably closest to where I grew up, and it just happens to have an incredible character, and it's yeah, highlights of the season for me.
And when it comes to his favourite car, Evans is keeping it in the family. Dad Gwyndaf among the first to congratulate Elfyn after his maiden WRC victory in Wales. Gwyndaf, a leading driver in his own right, British champion no less, which is where young Elfyn drew his inspiration.
For me, it would be one of the Formula 2 cars. Having sort of learned my craft in front-wheel drive, those were sort of the pinnacle of front-wheel drive rallying, if you like, and really the last of the proper works cars in front-wheel drive. It's all been four-wheel drive really from there.
Once again, Evans was delivering the goods for Ford, but with one eye on the championship, he'd settle for second behind Higgins.
Obviously, as a youngster, I was spectating my father, who was competing in that class, and the noise and everything was just incredible. So I've never had the chance to drive one, so yeah, one of the cars from the Formula 2 era.
Gwyndaf Evans in the Ford, along with Robbie Head in the Renault, was setting the pace, emphasising that with just a handful of seconds covering the leaders, 100% aggression was the only tactic that would work.
He tells me I'm dreaming that I would hate it.
Plenty more classic action to come, stirring the senses, evocative and emotional.
Even nowadays, like as a car like you see, and it's amazing.
In the company of the WRC's finest, featuring in their very own popularity contest, sharing thoughts on which elements of the sport they enjoy most, in the shape of their favourite event, favourite stage and all-time favourite car. Plenty of love for home rally so far, and it's much the same for our next driver, Dani Sordo. No particular standout stage for the Spaniard, but another who appreciates home support.
My favourite rally is maybe Catalonia, no? Because it's the home rally and it's always really nice to be there with everybody. I have a really nice memories of many of the rallies, but I think Catalonia is a rally like you are always wait to be there, and you are really sad when this the last stage, no? Because it's nice and you can see a lot of spectators, roads are nice. I really enjoy it there.
Dani Sordo, one of the WRC's most experienced drivers, who made his World Rally debut in Catalonia in 2003. His first stage win and first podium came here in 2006, runner-up behind Sebastian Loeb, the first of 5 second places at his home event in all. Sordo revelling on tarmac in the Citroën Zara, a car born from an earlier incarnation the Spaniard recalls with special fondness.
I was really fan of Zara kit car when I was little. He was like dreaming with this car a lot, no? I think the World Rally cars was too high in my target, so I was doing this in the Spanish Championship and also in the World Rally Championship in Catalonia Rally when they are Bugaski and Puras driving with this. And this car, it was amazing. The 4-score World Rally car also was nice, and I really like it. But I don't know, Zara he have something, no? And even now, it's like as a car like you see, and it's amazing.
The Citroën Zara kit car, the last two-wheel drive to win a World Rally. Filip Bulgalski, Corsica, 1999. Next, the second of our trio of young Finnish drivers currently gracing the WRC's elite. Teemu Suninen, another driver who makes no apology for staying close to his roots.
My favorite rally is Rally Finland. The reason is that I have grown up there. I feel that my bass notes are fitting well for Rally Finland. And then it's so natural for me to drive over the crests and put all the crests to the bass notes. It's a rally where we need to be flat out and on the limits from first corner. It's great to be in the air long times and have a long jumps and to be like part of the car. And the fans are a really big thing in Finland. I have to say it's been one of the few places where you can hear the cheering inside the car, and that's the place I've been in Kakaristo Junction. The only one place where I've been a little bit struggling to focus on, because you can hear the cheering inside the car and then you are like thinking, what's happening now? What's this noise? But that's really creating nice feeling for us.
Fast-flowing forests and fanatical followers. That's Finland, where World Rally is very much a national sport. No surprise, it's also where Teemu Suninen's favourite stage happens to be.
I would say my favorite stage is Pihlajakoski in Finland. The reason is that it's quite technical. It's not the fastest one, but there is happening all the time something like really fast, short corners with the short distances. So drivers need to be really awake from first corner. And there's like all the time something going on or happening, and we have a lot of corners to drive through, and that makes it really exciting stage.
Teemu Suninen putting his home event top of the pile, far from the only one to enjoy the flowing tracks of Finland more than any other. As for his favourite car, well, once again we select the gear marked Nostalgia.
I would say the B groups, maybe Audi or something, because it's giving really big challenge for the drivers. Basically, the suspension wasn't developed that far like we are having now. The geometry of the cars were not that good. It was just full of power, and they trusted the power.
More WRC poetry and motion from the 1980s halcyon days of the Group B cars, firmly enshrined in World Rally folklore. Next, completing our triumvirate of young Finns, it's Kalle Rovanperä, making a huge impression in his maiden season at the top level. Only 19, the youngest driver to finish on a WRC podium in Sweden this year. Still yet to experience most rallies at the top level, but naturally familiar with his home event. It's his favourite rally, and it features his favourite stage.
I haven't done the full Ounin Pohja, but I have done it like as a Kakaristo stage, so that is my favorite. Because it's one of the fastest and it's like changing a lot. It's narrow roads and wide roads and there's a lot of jumps and it's really technical. And I would say there is all the best parts of Rally Finland there. Fast and high-speed jumps and then technical parts, so it's really demanding stage.
So home is where the heart is for young Kalle Rovanperä. Like Elvin Evans before, Kalle is the son of a rally driver, indeed a WRC winner. Dad Harry at Rally Sweden in 2001 in the Peugeot 206. And there's a natural affinity when it comes to Kalle's all-time favourite car.
I would say 206 Peugeot, what my dad was driving also. That would be it. Because I've always been enjoying to watch these videos from early 2000s, because the cars were, I think, in quite nice, like the specs and everything was quite proper, and it was still a totally different driving style and everything what we have now. So I think the cars look cool and the driving style also is a bit more aggressive though. So it should be fun to drive them also.
Does your dad have one lying around that you could have a go of?
No, sadly no. And I think if we would have, I would not drive it.
Still to come, the hot hits of two world champions and a certain Frenchman who'd love to get behind the wheel of a true classic.
I've got often some offer to do it, so far I always a little bit decline and always focus on the present, but I will try to make this experience of the past.
It's a veritable head-turner and it's one of the all-time classics. All will be revealed shortly. It's the WRC class of 2020. Drivers whose chosen profession demands the ability to perform on an ever-changing tapestry of terrain. No two events in World Rally are the same. Snow, ice, gravel, tarmac, hot, cold, sunshine, rain, fog, you name it, their job is to tame it. We've invited the WRC's finest to share their favourites, which rally they like most, which stage and which car they'd most like to get their hands on. Two world champions still to come. First up, the current #1, Estonia's finest, a short hop over the Baltic Sea from Finland, so perhaps no surprise to learn the champ is another big fan of those famous forests.
My favorite rally is actually a quite easy one. It's obviously Finland. It's fast, it's technical, it's basically event where you get a lot of adrenaline. It's not hard for the car, but it's hard for the drivers. You need to be so precise there, and you need to push to the very limits. It's high speeds. It's the one which is tricky, but the one which I enjoy.
Tanak won emphatically in Finland in each of the past 2 years. Victory last season very much the springboard for his push towards that first Drivers' World title. Tanak posting quickest times through Saturday's longest stage, which happens to be the Estonians' favourite strip of road in the championship.
I would say actually Päijälä. It's maybe a bit of characteristic of Unipohja, but I would say in places it's even more tricky than Unipohja. So the adrenaline you get from there, the precision, the high speed, the big road to set the car, a lot of crests and jumps, all of them different. It's the one which really needs a lot of focus.
Finland's Päijälä stage topping the list for the world champion, which takes us to his all-time favourite car. And for that, once again, we turn the clock back almost 2 decades.
Actually, for me, a special car is 03 Focus. It was basically time when more or less everything was open. It was really a kind of active car. I managed to do one local event in Estonia like long time ago, and it's really driving like a PlayStation, I would say. It's so simple, it's doing whatever you want, and I know the car was very complicated, but basically, yeah, it almost didn't need a driver, but let's say it was nice to be a driver in this car.
Tänak, a big fan of the 03 Focus, but it's more than just his admiration for the car. It was driven by fellow Estonian Marko Martin. 2 victories in 2003, first Greece, then again in Finland, and another in Mexico the following year, all making a big impression on the teenage Tänak.
Yeah, definitely. It's the one which, let's say, he had a big part to develop this, and I was really lucky to try it once in Estonia, and there are still few in the garage in Estonia, so yeah, it's still in my list to try it one day when maybe Marko is away and I have the keys for the garage, so I will go and try it.
Last but by no means least, the man who's dominated the sport for much of the past decade, Sébastien Ogier. 6-time world champion, 7-time winner of his home event, the traditional curtain raiser to the WRC season, which also happens to be the one Ogier cherishes above all others.
Rally Monte Carlo is the one of my heart, is the one who gave me the passion for this sport. Luckily for me, I managed to win it many times. I often mention that that's the one who would give me the most satisfaction in the year, and if I would need to win only one, I would always pick that one. So many great memory there. Even when I didn't win, I remember back 2013, first rally with the Polo after a year off. We won the first stage where we had absolutely no idea which kind of pace we could deliver. It was very magic moment. Always a lot of stars in my eyes when I think about this event.
Nothing quite like kicking off the season with victory at the infamous Rally Monte Carlo, and that's something Sébastien Ogier has made a habit of over the years. But before we come to his favourite stage, where does a man who's won world rallies with 4 different manufacturers stand when it comes to a favourite car? Well, the Frenchman would also love to turn back the clock and get to grips with one of the all-time classics.
I've seen Mats recently who drove Audi Quattro Group B, and I think that's something I also need to make one day. I've got often some offer to do it, so far I always a little bit decline and always focus on the present, but there will come some times where my agenda should be a little bit more relaxed, and then I will try to make this experience of the past, and maybe the Peugeot 205 could be also something special to try if I have the chance to. Because they are so different from the car we drive now. Obviously, the one we have now are the fastest rally car ever produced, but back there was huge power already, but the rest was much more difficult to handle, I believe, like brakes, suspensions, tires were definitely not really adapt to the power they had. So I don't know, just try to feel and to imagine the challenge that it was to drive these cars. Today, I mean, yes, I believe the handling of our cars is much easier, but still we are all having the same, and making the difference has not necessarily become easier, but the way you drive the car is totally different. So I think I need to experience that.
A trip back in time, something for the future for one of the WRC's true greats, which just leaves us with Sébastien Ogier's favourite stage. 152 WRC starts, 570 stage wins, 48 victories, 6 world titles. So, which one stage gives the Frenchman the greatest pleasure and satisfaction?
I don't know, there is so many great stages in the championship that I always feel It's so hard to answer this question. And I prefer to answer it that way, that what makes rally beautiful is the diversity of this sport. And every single event, every single stage are different. And you can pick up so many great sections and great stages in a year, which means I cannot answer this question. There's too many nice ones.
The champ summing it up, there's no other form of motorsport as diverse, unpredictable, or as the man himself put it, so downright beautiful. All the world's a stage. See you back on one very soon, all being well.